Good morning, Bucknutters. It is Tuesday, July 26th, 2022. I am Dan Rubin. This is the Bucknuts Morning 5 and Change, coming to you live on the Twitter, the Book of Face, and YouTube. Please submit your questions if you have them for me and Duane Long, who is here as always on Tuesday. When you see the Orlando Pace avatar, you know it's time to roll. Duane, how goes it?
Oh man, just getting ready for football. I've been watching so many old films of Buckeye games, a lot of Michigan games, but other ones, bowl games and everything. Just I'm ready for the season.
There will be football on your television starting next weekend. It will be of the NFL variety, but then there will not be a respite for some time, and that is glorious. So we will enjoy the beginning of football season. We wait all year for this to come around again, and we are geeked. We're going to talk about some very interesting stuff going on the recruiting trail here for the Buckeyes. Two guys who Ohio State has recruited very hard, and I know like other Bucknutters, we are on the edge of our seat hoping for good news. As of right now, I can't BS my people. I'm not optimistic. On Wednesday, star safety Caleb Downs commits. On Thursday, defensive tackle John Walker commits. Downs has crystal ball action towards Alabama. John Walker has crystal ball action towards Central Florida. These are no ordinary crystal balls. These are Fong crystal balls. So, Spider Sillery, unfortunately, I will answer this. I expect Caleb Downs to commit to Alabama tomorrow. This does not make me happy. Duane, your thoughts on Caleb Downs? I mean, we don't get geeked about safeties much around here, and he's one of them.
Well, we got a new thing going here, and he's a unique athlete. We got a coach that builds his defense around safety play, and this is the best guy that's coming out this year. One of the best in the last few years, and that's going to be damaging. We have some good guys. I mean, it's not like, oh hell, what are we going to do now? But just upgrading the talent at safety, like we have had consistently at cornerback over the years, it's been consistently as average or so. How many elite safeties have we produced here? We were more during the Tressel era than at any point. Since then, it's just going downhill, and we just got to get more safeties in here. Downs was the big guy this recruiting cycle, so that's definitely a loss. I think Malik Hartford is very much underrated, uh, in particular the safeties we've got. So it isn't like, okay, it's the sky is falling, but that's going to be a big shot against us if he does take Alabama.
I mean, they've put their time in. You can't get on them for that. They gave this, I guess, cliche, the old college try. This guy cracks me up. I got to give that guy credit for that one. Yisakar LG is rolling his dice on our technical difficulties. Let's just see how long that goes. I will say Jordan Fuller and Malik Hooker were elite safeties, but I'm not sure even Jordan Fuller wasn't probably not appreciated as much as he could have been when he was here. John Walker is another story. This would be interesting in that Ohio State does not lose recruiting battles very often to the University of Central Florida. Ironically, Central Florida has outpaced Ohio State now to be the biggest school in the United States. People don't really know that. That school is a monster. Mr. Walker lives nearby, and we have one of those Bijan Robinson. Feel like you're going to Ohio State the whole time, and then at the end, mom and dad or whoever wants you home. You were a big fan of John Walker, like everybody else.
Oh, this one, I say Caleb Downs, but this one hurts too. Dan, we're losing five defensive linemen in this class, five of them. We got one tackle committed, and Will Smith has had a great summer, and he's looking like more of a we always think about a guy like that as a legacy. He's looking like a player, not just a legacy, but he's not an elite kid. We got to get some talent in here, and Walker was enormous in this. And we're not losing them to Central Florida. We're losing them to family. And that's what's going on here. Central Florida is not going to beat us for a player. It's just, and what irritates me about this, Dan, is the family as doesn't want the kid get far away from home, but then they approve of him running around the country on all these visits. It's just, and then they fall in love with somebody else. We know this. You know it from your contacts. I know it from mine. Bijan Robinson was committed. He verbally committed to Ohio State, went home, family jumped him, and changed the commitment. At least this kid's not going to commit to us first if he's going to go ahead and make his choice and be done with it. I just got to say this: once football season starts, get that kid on campus again. The atmosphere at Ohio State during a game, and let's see how that one rolls.
That's a little more optimistic than I would be. Unfortunately, if he commits to Central Florida, I don't think he'll be in the mix, but we shall see. That would be a big loss. If for no other reason, he was one of those guys there was one point in time I really did think he was coming to Ohio State, based on what I hear behind the scenes and when you read the tea leaves. So that's really disappointing, but we will be here with bells on. Keep this in mind. So Caleb Downs tomorrow. That's Wednesday. And then John Walker on Thursday. Listen, anything can happen. And the only thing I can guarantee you right now is that Ohio State staff is not sitting on their hands letting this go down. They're making their late push, getting the facts out there, and hoping these guys make the right decision. And we shall see. Tomorrow's also big because, like I said, Media Day starts today, but Ohio State will take the stage tomorrow. Shocker, they keep Ryan Day for last. Half the coaches go today. Half the coaches go tomorrow. So he is going last about 12:30 Eastern on Wednesday. We have all of our guys are there. Dave Biddle, Patrick Murphy, and Steve Hellwagon. The Bucknuts Morning 5 will be live from Indianapolis tomorrow morning. All three of those guys broadcasting, and they will get you up to speed on that. We're going to take a quick break here, come back, tackle some questions, and hit some other interesting topics. All right. One current topic that's kind of interesting we're going to get to before we hit the people here is I think you and I were in agreement, Duane, that Jackson Smith and Jigba would be the number one wide receiver taken in the draft next year. That was almost a foregone conclusion. I'm not sure it's not really, but as these national publications come out, and one guy we really trust here is Dane Brugler from The Athletic. In my opinion, he's the best media guy on the draft. He works tirelessly on it. He is an Ohio native up there in Warren. But he has Kayshon Boutte, the wide receiver out of LSU, rated as the highest prospect at receiver. His long speed concerns about Jackson Smith and Njigba have usurped the ranking. I sent you tape of Kayshon to check out. Who is the top receiver, Kayshon or Jackson Smith and Njigba?
Well, I'm going to have to wait till we get on the track, Dan. Let's see. Is he faster than Jackson Smith and Jigba? I don't know about that. I know he's not as productive. I know he didn't set the bowl record for yards in a single bowl game. He didn't have 3 touchdowns in the Rose Bowl. Should have had 4. So let's see what happens. If somebody's going to go on that, let him go on that. He's a damn good receiver. It's not like Dane's really reaching here.
Sure.
I've looked around myself a little bit, not that much yet. Looked around big schools, that have a receiver tradition. Go back over recruiting rankings and see what's going on with that. Look for guys. And I haven't seen anybody that's better. This kid, I didn't even know about him. I don't think he was a highly rated recruit. but they're the two best I've seen on film.
Yeah, they're impressive. And I did have a feeling that Jackson would get some challenge for this just because he isn't, a track star. And if you're looking for the elite of the elite, one of the things they check off is speed. I will say this. When Jackson Smith-Njigba was just coming up as a high school guy and going to all these camps, he wasn't originally the highest rated dude, partially because he's just so smooth. There are times when he looks like he's a glider. Steve Wiltfong was great on talking about this. So, look, whichever NFL team gets Jackson Smith-Njigba is going to be set for about a decade and a half. I appreciate Dane's opinion. By the way, Dane, maybe he's yin and yanging it. He's one of the guys that has C.J. Stroud over Bryce Young. There's a Pro Football Focus report that had C.J. Stroud as the fourth best quarterback behind Spencer Rattler and a couple other dudes. I might have to have that guy on the show, Anthony Tresh, to ask him what's up. All right. The people have plenty of questions up here. We're going to do a combination of questions, comments, etc. Let's go. Oh, this is a good one. Larry Ventresco, one of our best. Good morning, Bucknutters and gentlemen. As if they are different. If you could ask Ryan Day and Jim Harbaugh any question at Media Days, what would you ask? Thanks. With Ryan Day, I don't really have many questions for the guy. I'm going to leave him to do his job. Jim Harbaugh, I don't think I would have the ability to ask him a serious question. I just find the guy to be so incredibly weird. He's now stepped into some political stuff that I don't understand why they do that. But, man, I think Jim Harbaugh is just the weirdest dude. And I do really think that's the problem with their recruiting when you get into a room and you got to turn your son over to somebody. When you look at the guys they're competing with, would you want to turn your kid over to Jim Harbaugh when you could turn him over to Ryan Day or Marcus Freeman or anybody else in the United States? So I'm not into that one. All right. We're going to keep away from shots at the other sites. We like to stay on the high road, as we say, there is much less traffic. What are your expectations for Caleb Downs? Spider Sillery went over that. Our expectations currently are that he will commit to Alabama. Unfortunately, are they still in the mix? Yes. It is not a done deal. I have not gotten word that the staffs have been informed. This guy's running it out till the end. Very rare you get to the day before, and that's the case. So I guess there is a chance. All right, Duane. Which tight end will get the starting position for the Buckeyes? Rewatch the spring game. This is from the Fist 501st. And I can see Joe Royer making some big catches, big plays in the future. Dave Biddle and Pat Murphy were asked this question yesterday. They also believe Joe Royer will be the starter. What are your thoughts on Royer?
I agree. He's the most athletic looking of the tight ends we have.
And there you go. And for those of you keeping score at home, 13 minutes and 32 seconds. All right. Heard great things about Joe Royer. He's gotten much stronger in the weight room. Obviously, at Ohio State, you got to be able to do both things. They're not going to just let the guy run down the field and catch passes. But to echo what Dave said yesterday, that's going to be a strength in position by community. You're going to have Joe Royer, Cade Stover, Mitch Rossi, Gee Scott. So I'm optimistic about the tight end position. It's going to be kind of interesting to kind of find how everyone fits in. Yes, LG. The answer was 13 minutes and 32 seconds. I'm not sure what the last bet was to go off in Vegas. See how long Duane can rock and roll for us without going out, but he's out. We've missed out. Shane, we've missed out on top safety the last 2 or 3 years. Safety, what you are in high school and what you are in college is very different. We've talked about this. Jordan Fuller was a 7th round draft pick and is now the captain of the Los Angeles Rams defense. So, let's see what the safety position is in the Jim Knowles defense before we get too upset about not having dudes. Tyler R. Bama once again will have a late recruiting charge and finish number 1 overall. It's disgusting, to be honest. Let's call it straight. Alabama has been the standard. They do an incredible job, and it's hard to recruit against a juggernaut like that. Ohio State has done a great job in recruiting, but look, if you come down to Alabama, Ohio State, and Georgia, and someone chooses Alabama, I mean, it's not like you can say they've gone off the reservation there. So, challenge. Where goes one wants to know, will we still find a second running back in this class? Obviously, they have Mark Fletcher, and there has been some discussion of adding another back. Is it possible? Sure. I do think, obviously, they wanted Justin Haynes out of Georgia, who kind of surprisingly committed to Alabama a couple weekends ago. If they do take another guy, I expect him to be more the Ohio type, and your Mayan Williams, maybe a later guy in the mix. One thing I will say about running back is it's not the type of position where you have to always go for the glamour type. Mayan Williams wasn't super highly ranked, and you see what he does. And then we have Travion Henderson, who was the number one guy, and you can see what he does. Running back's a little bit different, not like quarterback or defensive end, in which there's a limited number of dudes. I really think Ohio State, even if you had to go to the transfer portal to add a running back, we talk about positions. We had a long discussion on here at times about adding another offensive lineman. Very tough, I think, to add an elite offensive lineman who could start at Ohio State that'd be willing to come in here and be a backup. Running back's a little bit different. I think if you went after this year and you go to some school where a guy who arrived there as a freshman wasn't as heralded and blew up, Ohio State would have a chance to go in and scoop him up. On the John Walker, it's just me, Tim, 79. How do you say no to mama? You don't. Whereas Shane, I could never deny my son's dreams. They aren't strong enough of a dream for him to, usurp the parents. So it's very disappointing, but I do not think John Walker's coming to Ohio State. Tyler R., if Sonny Styles didn't reclassify, do you think he's ranked higher than Caleb Downs? It's possible. He wouldn't have been listed as a safety in high school, so they'd be listed at a different position. Most of Sonny's rankings have him more as a hybrid outside linebacker type. If the ship was going down, I think I would take Sonny Styles over CJ Hicks. Over CJ Hicks. Good gracious. I love both of them. I would take Sonny Styles over Caleb Downs because he's just a bigger dude, and they just don't make him like Sonny Styles. There are just very few physical guys out there who have that size and speed. Hello from Amon Jordan. Good gracious. I knew we were big in Jordan. I didn't know we were so huge in Amon, though. That's great. Amon Jordan, with the Tennessee saga going on, what are the chances of the Buckeyes with Nico Iamaleava? Of course, the quarterback who signed an enormous NIL deal, I would say their chances are nil and void. I don't see them getting involved with that dude. Why did you leave for an interview on signing day? It's just Tim 79, just me, Tim 79, actually has the best question for Jim Harbaugh. Who is going to have the stones to ask that question at Media Days? Dave Biddle, you're on the clock. Someone's going to ask that question. I don't know if they'll ask it as directly, but there will be some type of question about Jim Harbaugh going to the Minnesota Vikings for an interview on signing day, which lends at least some credence to the fact that many believe Harbaugh did not expect to be back, did not expect to be at Media Days. So old Jim can make things awkward, and he's done it again. Kevin Chavis asked, do you think we meet Bama in the national title game and prevent Saban from an 8th title on our watch? Well, if I had to bet right now, I think I'd be like everybody else and say Ohio State, Alabama, and let's just go with a coin toss in that game. Once I see Ohio State's defense play, I'll be much more comfortable making that prediction. I do think Ohio State's going to have the offense to be messed with this year in terms of, you're going to just have to, I think they're good for 40 every game. But Alabama, I think, deserves the benefit of the doubt right now. That's the only school I would give that to, by the way. Brass Tacks backs up what we discussed earlier. From what I heard, the coaches are raving about Joe Royer. We've heard the same. He's in a good shape, and I do think tight end is going to be a pretty solid position there. Obviously, Ohio State lost Jeremy Ruckert to the NFL, arguably our most heralded guy, and then we just got a commitment from an impressive dude out of Florida. So things are going good. I'm not worried about it. Here's the talk about running back. Jaquez Keys out of Ironton, 4-star running back in Wisconsin commit. Could he become more prevalent on the running back radar? Very possible. Once again, that is a second back, and they do like Mark Fletcher. No question, David Smith, defensive tackles, a big need in future classes. It's always been a big need. I mean, it's just a fact since we've the last 10 or 15 years or so. It's very difficult to recruit those Southern big defensive tackles. They're just much more prevalent in the South. It's very hard to get them to come up here, and we haven't really been able to do it on the first try. Antoine Jackson, of course, we were heavily involved with. He went to Auburn and then Blinn Junior College and eventually matriculated to Columbus. But look, it's been very, very difficult to do that. I don't know what to say about that defensive tackle recruiting. I'm not super optimistic that they're going to be able to get that guy. What we can hope for is Tyleik Williams blossoms into what we think he can be and go from there. Want to say thank everybody for stopping by. Once again, Duane gave us about half the time, 13 minutes if you were betting in Vegas. We appreciate everybody stopping by, and have a good one.